Hello, my name is Vera Solanki, and I'm here to discuss Laurence Anholt's debut novel, The Hypnotist. The Hypnotist showcases the idea of underlying racism shown through the lens of 1960s America. Anholt's main character, Pip, portrays how human nature is perceived by others negatively. The audience is forced to feel absolute sorrow for Pip, as he has to endure a constant battle of racism throughout the whole novel. Please raise your hand if you have ever been exposed or seen racism. Well, racism is an act of mistreatment to another race or belief to feel or be superior. And this can be contemplated by the reader in the novel throughout the novel when racism distresses the character, such as Pip. Pip is a young coloured teen who lives in 1960s Alabama, America. Society back in the late 1900s America had day-to-day racism towards people of colour and considered this ordinary. An example of how racism was ordinarily established is during the introductory chapter, St. Joseph Poor Boys Orphanage, spring 1963. The reader is introduced to Pip and a small aspect of institutionalized racism. This is due to the reader observing the grief of Pip as he is bought as a slave through the dialogue between Mr. Zachary and the orphanage owner. The orphanage owner states, and I quote, "Pip, this is Mr. Zachary. He is looking to foster a boy." The reader is able to observe Pip's human nature denaturing, as he is treated like a slave, making Pip feel that he is worthless and is uncared for. The audience feels sympathy for Pip as he is being subjected to racism at such a young age and being mentally scarred. This changes Pip's characteristics immensely, as well as other times in the novel, which are all Anholt's intention to stress the impacts of racism on human beings. The act of racism in America originated from slavery back in the early mid-1800s, when it was considered normal to dehumanize colored people. Slavery is still impacting Americans in today's society through police brutality. An example of police brutality in America is when in 2017, 916 citizens in America were killed due to police brutality. Most of these unfortunate human beings were coloured. And this is why Anholt wants to express to the audience the urgent concern of police brutality in modern society in America. Anholt also wishes to convey the audience that Pip is a product to his environment and is treated unfairly and feels that he is worthless due to the act of white supremacy. This is all linked to the theme racism and segregation in the novel, which creates obstacles for Pip throughout the novel. But in conclusion, Anholt uses the ideas of racism to impact the human nature of Pip throughout the novel. Racism affected Pip and other characters due to being discriminated and being made a product of the environment due to their skin color. Thank you.